Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mahdi Tijani back with you. I'm going to be reacting to a video today which you might think, especially for the majority Muslim audience who watch me, that such an article doesn't pertain to us, it's not relevant to us. That type of stuff doesn't happen to us, Mahdi. And I saw this article on MTR's channel, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. Shout out to you, brother. And I said to myself after watching his video, this is not, Muslims are not exempt from this. This happens in the Muslim community. So I'm going to go through the same article, the same video that he went through with a Muslim lens and show you the pitfalls that even us Muslims fall into and how we can get our hands burned. I cheated on my husband with one of his friends and now I don't know what to do. I want him back. My life is terrible without him. I made a huge mistake. And now I'm caught in such a effed up situation. I don't know what to do anymore. I just want advice. But if you're mean, I understand I made a huge mistake. This is a long story. Now I've read the article, so I already know how this plays out. But even reading it again, subhanAllah, it reminds me of the ayah in the Quran that I was just reading this morning before I come to take this video. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان. In Surah Nur, O you who believe, don't follow in the footsteps of shaitan. And in another ayah, where Allah says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا, and don't go anywhere near zina. Allah in His infinite wisdom, He didn't say, don't perform the act of zina. No, He said, don't go anywhere near it. Because nobody wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? Today I'm going to commit zina. Today I'm going to commit adultery. Today I'm going to sleep with my friend's best friend's husband or wife or whatever the case may be. It doesn't work like that. So Allah said, cut it from the root. From the root, don't go anywhere near it. Don't talk to the opposite sex. Don't be in their presence outside of the absolutely necessary. Let's get into the article. Bismillah. Me, 23, and my husband, 26, have been married for around 3 months. 3 months! Is that it? But we've been together ever since my sophomore year of high school. We've done everything together. When he went to college, we made sure that I would go to the same school. He even turned down a better scholarship to go to a school that I had a better chance of getting into, since he was one of the smart kids and I was one of the more average kids. Gentlemen, never ever prioritize a woman over your purpose. I don't care who she is, with the exception of your mother, of course. I'm talking about from a romantic relationship. Never ever prioritize the feelings, the whatever it is, for your woman over your purpose. This young man is already starting off on the back foot, pedestalizing her, telling her, you are more important than me. Your happiness, your contentment, your satisfaction is more important than me fulfilling my potential. Big mistake. You are now pedestalizing her, making her an equal to you. And what happens when you make her your equal? Women become disenchanted. Women don't want their equal. As much as feminism might tell you that we want to be equal and so on, no. Women don't want their equal. The moment they get their equal, they lose interest in him. Hypergamy kicks in, baby. Hypergamy kicks in and says, I can do better than this. I can do better than him. He's not fulfilling my hypergamous needs. I need someone better than him. You never, ever make her your equal by diminishing yourself. If she wants to step up to the plate, by all means, step up to the plate. Let's go. But unless she is actively making herself better, you don't make yourself worse just to make her feel good. Never, ever do that. Purpose over P. You know what I'm talking about. We've done everything together. When he went to college, we made sure that I would go to the same school. He even turned down a better scholarship to go to a school that, oh, I just read that. Okay. And when he finished, he immediately started working so that he could support us. And I dropped out because he knew I hated school. He works as a software engineer right now. Sorry for the long background, but I just wanted to show that I do love him with everything in my being and everything he's done for me, and I wouldn't give him up for anything. I wonder why that is. You love him for him, or you love him for his resources, for his potential, for where he's going because he looks like a winner. Which way around is it? Would you still love him if he was average Joe? I don't know. Let's carry on the article. I stay at home and take care of the typical cleaning and cooking and house maintenance. So we have a good relationship and we both put in a lot of work to make sure things stay afloat. Before I get into this, and when she says, okay, you know what, we're just going to leave that one there. Before I get into this, I should say that my physical attraction to him wasn't the same as when we were in college. Ever since he started working, he started to work out less and doesn't come to the gym with me as often. Let me tell you something. In this moment right here, she's rationalizing or trying to rationalize why she lost attraction for him and committed this heinous crime. And she thinks one of the reasons is that because he let himself go a little bit. No, that's not the reason. There are plenty of fat men, not that there's an excuse to be fat, but I'm just saying there's plenty of fat men who have 110% desire from their women because of the type of men that they are. And there are plenty of six-pack, washboard abs, model physique men who get cheated on a daily because of the type of men that they are. This is absolutely nothing to do with his physique, but she's trying to rationalize, oh, I must have cheated because he let himself go a little bit. Not true. She cheated because, and we're going to get to the article now. Ever since he started working, he started to work out less and doesn't come to the gym with me as often. He's not fat or anything, there we go, so he's just a little bit out of shape. Again, she's trying to rationalize why she did what she did. And it's nothing to do with his weight. There's no excuse for being fat and out of shape, but that's for you, gentlemen. That's for your own health. That's to be in shape for yourself. And as a side effect of that, women find that attractive, no problem. But I am telling you that is not the reason why she cheated. We're going to get to the reason. He's not fat or anything, but it's obvious he doesn't have as much muscle, and the things he had early in college, like his six-pack, which he knows I used to love, are long gone. Maybe less working out reduced his testosterone also because the sex isn't as frequent, and when we have it, it's not like it used to be. This is very unlikely that this has anything to do with testosterone. The young man is in his prime, he's 26 years old. And when I say prime, I mean his physical prime, his physical health. Okay, because a man's productive prime in terms of productivity to the world, in what he can offer to the world, he's hitting that stride between the ages of 40 and 60. But his physical prime is right now. He's in his mid-20s. This is it. That's the prime time of most athletes. Most professional athletes hit their prime, hit their stride at this age. It's nothing to do with testosterone. They've clearly fallen into monotonous, boring routine. A monotonous, boring, predictable routine will kill any relationship. Any relationship. Just like a TV series that stops surprising you and stops leaving you on good cliffhangers and starts to become very predictable, it becomes boring. It's nothing to do with testosterone. It's not like it used to be. Starting a couple of months ago, one of his better friends that I will call David, I'd love to know what she means by better, but okay. One of his better friends that I will call David started coming over to hang out. Usually, I don't like his friends in our place so frequently, but me and David instantly clicked. Gentlemen, to the young Muslim men watching right now, your friends are your friends. That's fine. They have absolutely nothing to do with your wife. Nothing. The video I took the other day, I said to you, never mind having female friends and all. Don't say my wife's name. Don't ask me how's my wife. That's the boundaries we put. Don't even bother asking me how she is. Don't ask me. You want to ask me how my family is? Say, how's the family? I will get the message. I will understand. Don't ask me how's my wife. Do you know her? No, you don't know her. Never mind bringing your friend around and him spending time with your wife. Listen, you have to understand, we are not superhuman. We're human. Yes, you're Muslim even. Okay, but still, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. Don't go anywhere near it. Protect yourself from far and wide. Far and wide. Don't go anywhere near it. Your wife, she might see something in him, and he might see something in your wife, and shaitan beautifies it times 1,000. That thing might be a tiny small thing, but shaitan knows how to dress a pig in lipstick. It puts lipstick on the pig and makes it look something that it's not. David and I hit it off, and my husband was so happy to see that I finally got along with his friends. So her husband was the youth kalb, ibn al-kalb. You are the youth. You deserve it. You deserve it. What can I tell you? You deserve it. So you were happy that your wife was starting to hit it off with one of your friends. You know, this is not a religious thing. Wallahi, this is not a religious thing. This is a man thing. If you as a man don't feel it, you don't feel that ghira, that jealousy, that territorial tearing out your patch sort of thing. If you don't feel that, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know what to do for you. Enter the youth kilb. That's what you are. I can't help you. You need to feel that instinctively, innately. This is not a religious thing. This is a man thing. Men are territorial. What do you mean you were happy that your friend was coming over and started being friendly with your wife? Are you dumb blood? Are you stupid? So you are the orchestrator of your demise, Mr. Husband, whoever you are. You are the orchestrator of your demise. David and I hit it off, and my husband was so happy to see that I finally got along with his friends. But then, as usual, he ended up going back to work and spending less and less time with me, which honestly might have been one of the reasons I cheated. Wow, solipsism 101. 101. Instead of taking accountability and saying, you know what, I effed up. This was my bad. No, I think the reason I cheated is because my husband spent less and less time with me. Even if he spends less and less time with you, that's not an excuse. And by the way, where's he spending that time? With his friends, at the club, with escorts. Where's he spending that time? At work, so he can provide for your ungrateful ass and give your ungrateful backside the lifestyle that you are living. So many of you women are so out of touch with how money is created. You're so out of touch with how wealth and resources come into existence. And you have become even more out of touch ever since the birth of OnlyFans and the likes. Why? Because those platforms have given women such an easy way to make lots of money. A lot of women are making 6 figures plus a month from the likes of OnlyFriends, we'll call it. I think what it triggers the algorithm. Simply by putting pictures of their feet and photos of them scantily dressed in lingerie and so on. So you think, well, if I can make this type of money doing that, obviously he can. No, it doesn't work like that for men. No man can put his feet up on OnlyFriends and make £100,000 a month, or be scantily dressed and make that. No, we have to actually go out and build something significant, something meaningful, something of true worth. Our sexuality doesn't have a currency, so we have to actually build something that matters. You're out of touch. But of course, it's his fault, because he's out there providing for your ungrateful ass. Let's carry on. When we were about to get married, he promised me we wouldn't fall out of touch like in the movies, and that he wouldn't abandon me for work. Oh my days. This screams of victim mentality. Abandoned. She feels abandoned. I feel abandoned. But that's exactly what I feel like happened. David, the best friend, started swinging by a couple of hours before my husband got home to wait for him comfortably. So we started hanging out. Let me tell you something, gentlemen. If a man is coming to stop by for any woman and he's starting to make a regular habit out of it, men don't do things for free. Men don't buy women for free. And to the ladies watching, understand this. Men don't do you favors for free. No, there's always a string attached. You want to know what the litmus test is? Make it categorically clear to him that you are completely uninterested in him and this can't go anywhere. So, you know what? I have no interest in you whatsoever. Watch how quickly those favors dry up. Watch how quickly that time he was spending with you dries up. Because there's nothing there. Because you've made it categorically clear this can't go anywhere. Men don't do things for free. We did everything together that I felt like my husband should have taken the time to do with me. Once again, the solipsism is on steroids and growth hormone and insulin and everything else you can think of. Your husband was out, and I need the ladies to understand this. I bumped into a gentleman the other day, and we started catching up and so on. And he was telling me about a few issues he was facing at home, and I noticed that he was, you know, a little bit out of shape. And I said to him, bro, you know, why don't you get back into the gym, make yourself feel better? You'll feel better once you lose weight and get into shape. You feel good. When you look good, you feel good. It's like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I said to him, why can't you do that? He said, because my wife will get really upset because I spend all day at work. And then if I go to the gym afterwards, I'm going to get home. There'll only be like a couple of hours before bed. I said to him, I'm sorry. You're at work for who, please tell me? Are you at work here having fun? At a job that you don't even like? Are you here at this job that you don't even like for the sake of it, having fun? No, you're putting in this graft, you're putting in this time, these hours, that sweat, blood, sweat, and tears, so that you can keep that roof over her head. You best believe you've earned your time to go to the gym afterwards, and you come home when you freaking well come home. And if it means that you have no time with her to spend that evening, so the hell be it. So the hell be it. You spend time on a weekend. You're not here having fun. You're not here picking your nose and playing PlayStation. You're here grafting for her and your children, which is what you should be doing. But nevertheless, my point is, you're doing a service to your family. You deserve to go and take care of your body afterwards and release some stress and so on. She'll get angry. So what, let her get angry. What do you mean you get angry? Uskuti. Let me tell you something, gentlemen. A woman, I've said this before, will put up with about as much as you expect her to. And she will get away with about as much as you allow her to. One more time. A woman will put up with about as much as you expect her to. And she will get away with about as much as you allow her to. If you allow her to have this hissy fit, this tantrum, and you buy into this notion of, yeah, I should be going home straight after work and spending time with her, and I should sacrifice gym as a result and get all fat and flabby and unhealthy and be depressed. If you buy into that, guess what? She'll expect it from you. What's good to you? Who are you talking to like that? What are you talking about? And I'm not telling you to hit her or anything like this. I'm simply saying, you draw the line. This is the frame. This is the filter. And I was telling one of my clients yesterday on a Zoom call, the filter is this. If it makes you feel, if you feel like what she is requesting you to do is wrong, that you shouldn't be doing it, but that you're making a concession for her, stop. Immediately stop. You have to prioritize what's important to you first. First. And what's important after taking care of the family and so on is your health, your mental well-being. Going to the gym is not just for your physical health, it's good for your mental health as well. If you're not mentally there for yourself, you're not mentally there for anyone. And you will start to resent those people who are preventing you from going or making you feel bad for going. That's the filter. The filter is, do I feel like I'm making a concession here that I shouldn't be making for her? Stop. Stop that right now. Check that shit immediately. We did everything together that I felt like my husband should have taken the time to do. We binged Netflix, talk about so much. Went out to the movies. Rude boy. Like, where are your balls, Ibn al-Kalb? Your wife's going to the movies with your best friend? And you're happy with that? Ibn al-Kalb, you deserve this. Whenever people saw us, they said I looked happier. And at that point, I think I was. David started swinging by to hang out with me more than my husband. So he came earlier and earlier, and soon it was just at the beginning of the day, as long as he didn't have class. He's working on his master's. So by the sounds of it, David doesn't have a job, but David is a student, and students have a bit more time than a regular person. David must be younger as well if he's a student and not working at that age. One morning, he came by, and we started to binge Netflix. I didn't have as much clothes on you as usual because he came at like 9 a.m., which I think is 9 a.m., which was slightly earlier than expected. But I was already so comfortable with him, it didn't matter. You know, in both the Arab community and the South Asian community, I've noticed a very lackadaisical nature when it comes to free mixing. Even though, alhamdulillah, Islam has come to eradicate this cancer, we have a very lackadaisical attitude towards free mixing. And that's the first thing. Okay, just men, non-mahram men and non-mahram women intermingling with each other. But then after that, we have the mingling is one thing. But then you have as well that the women are beautifying themselves in a way that is alluring to the man, to the non-mahram man. So you might be in a family gathering, for example, and she's all lathered with makeup. Or perhaps even she's dressed inappropriately. If she doesn't wear hijab at all, so much the worse. But even amongst the practicing Muslims I'm talking about, I'm not even going to the non-practicing Muslims. You go around, she's wearing hijab and abaya, or at least something that represents an abaya, but she's got makeup on, and she's giggling and laughing and entertaining and hosting. Ibn al-Kalb, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Where are your balls? Where are your balls? This doesn't process in my head. This doesn't process. This doesn't make sense. What's wrong with you? I can't even, if you don't get it, I can't help you. Ibn al-Kalb. Go and check your testosterone. Maybe your testosterone is broken. Maybe it is finished. I don't know. There's definitely a problem. How can you sit there with your wife entertaining your guests, your male guests, laughing and joking, yes, and this and that, and I don't know, and you feel nothing? You feel nothing. You're dead. You're empty. Really? I only had a big shirt on and some underwear, and I didn't even realize until it was too late that I wasn't wearing a bra. You lying bint. You lying bint. You liar. Of course you knew exactly what you were doing. These are all lies. And I didn't realize until too late that I wasn't wearing a bra, so I felt awkward. Then David, as a joke, took off his clothes, and only as a joke, he was joking. I don't know, he was, it was friendly joke. He joke, I not wearing bra, he's not wearing t-shirt. What problem? No problem. Joke. Took off his clothes and only had a shirt and his boxers on, and climbed into bed next to me saying it was undies time. For a joke as well, right? And he was abnormally close. But I ended up moving even closer. He put his hand on my thigh, and I ended up moving to sit in between his legs. And before I even thought about it, he turned me around and started grinding an erection onto me, and I kissed him. I didn't intend for it to go further. Of course, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. I didn't intend for it to go further than that. But he was everything that my husband wasn't anymore. Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. MashaAllah. He was... So because David the bum, who's not working, who's not grafting, no, because David the bum comes over and he's entertaining you and he's giving you attention. Let me just find out where this is. And he's giving you attention, and maybe he's still got his six-pack. He is everything your husband isn't anymore. Do you remember the hadith I showed you the other day that I keep repeating over and over? When the Messenger of Allah said that, to the nearest translation, of why the inhabitants of the hellfire were filled with the majority of women. And the companions asked, why was that? And he said, because of their ingratitude towards their husband. Can you see this playing out here right now? David, the bum, is everything her husband isn't. Allahu Akbar, mashallah. I didn't intend for it to go further than that, but he was everything that my husband wasn't. He was still built, and I could tell he really wanted me more than my own husband. So we ended up doing the dirty. I trusted him, of course, so we never used protection throughout that day, and he gave me the opportunity. He gave me, but pay attention to the wording. He gave me the opportunity to feel ways and do things I hadn't done in so long. Okay, let's discuss this point for a second, because I really believe this is one way that alpha widows are made. When you do things in haram, shaitan beautifies it. He beautifies it more than he beautifies the halal, obviously, right? And even if you put halal haram to the side, when you do something that you know is wrong, the level of angst and anxiety, tension, stress, all of those levels are so high that it makes the feeling in that moment feel even more than what it should feel. So the reason why you can't feel that same level of anxiety and tension and, you know, that general tension and anxiety with your husband, or your boyfriend, or someone that you know you should be committed to, and, you know, it's not wrong in your eyes. The reason why you can't feel that same level of tension and anxiety is because that very reason. It's not wrong, it's right, it feels right, it is right, it's your husband, you're in a committed relationship, whatever the case may be. If you're non-Muslim, then it's your boyfriend. But when you're doing things that you know are wrong, the paradoxical irony is that all of those feelings are heightened massively because it's wrong. Not because David was really good at laying down the pipe. Nope. Not because David had skills and understood the motion of the ocean, really, nothing to do with that. It's simply because of the stress and anxiety attached to that moment. And I really believe this is one way that a lot of alpha widows are made, because they had an interaction with a man at some point in their lives, an intimate interaction, and he might not have actually been the greatest in, you know, laying down the pipe, but because of the stress and anxiety in that moment of how wrong it was. You might have heard the lyrics in one of those songs, I don't remember. It's so wrong it felt right. Something along those lines. Because of that stress, it makes the moment feel heightened. Now, that's all she can remember. Thinking it was because of that guy. That guy was the one. He was the only one who was able to make me feel that. When the reality was, the only reason you felt that was because it was wrong in the first place. Stress, anxiety brings up those stress levels, those stress hormones, heightens the moment, makes it feel more than what it actually is. I thought I would feel bad after, but I didn't. I was only really excited that I was desired. And wanted, and that I was desired and wanted and satisfied again. Me and David continued this relationship for months, and I ended up giving him the nickname Hubby, because I really felt like he was my true husband, the way he treated me. So of course we have Mr. Beta Bugs, her actual husband, providing for her, taking care of her, doing the dutiful thing, what he should do. And then we have David here, providing squat diddly, nothing, zilch, zero. He's the real husband, though. He's my real hubby because he makes me feel good. Do you understand why I said to you the other day in one of my other videos that women prioritize feelings over logic and rational argument? Hence why, when you hear a woman complaining to you, understand she is most probably, as I showed you in that video, wording her question to you in a manner which can elicit an answer that sits with her feelings, that makes her feel good, that gets her the answer that she wants. Once again here. He made me feel. I was excited that I was desired and wanted and satisfied again. It felt great. I felt like he was my true husband. He's not your freaking true husband. But of course, he started to get possessive like men do, and this is where huge problems began. Whenever we did the dirty, he wanted my wedding ring off. The audacity. And I ended up losing it. And my husband immediately noticed because I made a point of never having it off. But that was only the first thing. David told me to stop kissing my husband or really treating him like he was my husband at all. This is the fitrah. Even though David knows that he's a filthy piece of work, this is the fitrah. Men are territorial. Men don't share. We don't share. As messed up as it is. And I did it, and I treated my husband like SHIT because he manipulated me into believing he was a shitty husband. He manipulated me. It's never, notice the wording, it's never her fault. It's never her fault. David, the guy who I felt like was my true husband, no, he manipulated me. I'm a victim in all of this. He manipulated me into believing he was a shitty husband and person for leaving me so alone. And that's a really shitty thing to do. It's one thing cheating with your best friend's wife. It's another thing than character assassinating him behind his back. I mean, how low do you have to go? I went back on birth control and we never used protection because he didn't like it. And I never objected because I enjoyed the feeling of being taken again. Now, I want to pay attention and just hang on this point for a minute. Do you remember the video I took a while back that got me banned on TikTok about consent? I'm not going to say it again because I don't want this video to get taken down. But the point that I was trying to elicit to you, let me highlight this here, is that women don't want to be asked. They don't want you to seek permission. They want to be taken. That's how they want to be. They want to feel like you are so confident in yourself that all of her resistance cannot help but melt towards you. She doesn't want to be asked. She doesn't want to sign off on a disclaimer. No, she wants to be taken. Pay attention to the words. Learn. I enjoyed the feeling of being taken to the point that I allowed my husband's best friend to nut inside me raw over and over. That's how powerful it is when you as a man are able to make a woman feel taken. I stopped kissing my husband. I put as much distance between us in bed as possible. And I made a point to never have sex with him no matter what. I called him, and again, the fitrah again. Women cannot share men. A woman cannot be intimately involved with multiple men. She cannot. The moment she is emotionally and physically stuck to one man, so she emotionally desires him and she physically desires him, she can't do it with another man. It's impossible. It's impossible. There might be some exceptions you bring and, but, okay, whatever. The exception proves the rule. The exception proves the rule. She cannot. I called him fat and ugly when I got angry or was upset, and it just sent my marriage into ruins. No shit. David was still around, and I guess my husband realized how lovey-dovey I was with David because he started making accusations. And of course, David got possessive again. So when my husband told him he couldn't come over anymore, he sent my husband months worth of the pictures and videos and messages we had made and sent each other as some kind of sick payback. If this hasn't put you off, my brother watching right now, if this hasn't put you off of drawing a line in the sand with your wife and yourself for that matter, free mixing with, I don't care if they're family, friends, I don't give a hot damn. If this hasn't put you off, nothing will. Don't sit there thinking, but we don't do these things as Muslims. These things don't happen. Don't sit there thinking, no, this can't happen to us. We wouldn't do that. Nonsense. BS. This stuff happens. Shaitan has his wicked ways. You have to draw up that fort. You have to put that fort in place and protect yourself from yourself and protect your wife from herself. It's a must. When my husband got home, he was infuriated and he screamed and threw things, and I had no idea what to do. And I realized that David didn't really care about me as much as my husband did. Oh, seriously? Really, you think your husband who was grafting all day long for you, whilst David who was bumming about, just taking advantage of your body, and now you finally came to the realization that your husband cared more for you? Really? And this is goes back to my original point at the beginning of the video. So many women are so out of touch with what it takes to become a successful man, a man who is able to bring something of worth to the table. You don't understand the graft and grind required. You live in fairy tale land. A lot of you live in fairy tale land. When my husband got home, he was infuriated and he screamed and threw things, and I had no idea what to do. And I realized David didn't really care about me as much as my husband did if he was willing to expose me like that. He started yelling about how hard he was working, and if I didn't help around the house, as if I didn't help around the house, as if the help you did around the house can equate to the graft he's putting in at work. It pales in comparison. I'm sure there's stuff to do, and your help is appreciated. And to the women watching, of course your help is appreciated, but it pales in comparison to the graft and the stress that your husband is going through in the workplace. If he's a man on his purpose going places, of course. That's a prerequisite. Even if he's a regular man, just an average Joe, but he's putting in that 12-hour shift. He's grafting, he's grinding. That's a graft, man. That's a shift. He's doing that for you and the kids. And then this is how you repay him. And he broke a lot of my personal items. He was crying in the corner and talking about how he wanted to kill himself. And I was so scared because he randomly kept lashing out again. He kept asking me questions, half yelling, half crying, about how often and how long it had been going on. And I broke down and started crying too and told him everything. You know, this reminds me of something Abu American said, and actually my client the other day said something along the similar lines, similar vein. He said, if you let women talk, they'll tell on themselves. Just let them talk, they'll tell on themselves. Because they don't want to, a woman doesn't like feeling like she's holding something back from a man that she loves. Now, I don't know at this point if this woman loves him, but loss aversion, she's probably realizing David's out the picture. Quickly, I need to secure this one here who actually is the good prospect here. From a perspective of finance and resources, he's definitely a good prospect. He might not be as hot as David, but from finance and resources, I need to hold this man down. I need to hold him down. So it's interesting how that dynamic plays out. He kept asking me questions, half yelling, half crying, about how often and how long it had been going on. And I broke down and started crying too and told him everything. He looked at the videos on his phone, getting angry again because I told David I loved him and that he was better than my husband and other things that insulted him. In the videos, he saw that we were having sex in our marital bed and that we never used a condom, and he always finished inside me, and I could see something in him just break. Maybe because he was my first time back in high school, and I didn't let him do any of that until we were married. No, it's nothing to do with the fact that you were his first in high school. It's to do with the fact that you have not guaranteed paternity to him anymore. That's the bottom line. Why are men so territorial over their women? Well, because back in the day, just a few years ago for that matter, for the whole of humanity, up until 50 years ago, there was no way for a man to be able to tell whether a kid is his or not, except under the guarantee that a woman was faithful to him, and only him. A woman has never had this problem. Obviously, she carries the child and she knows who she sleeps with. So a woman's maternity is always guaranteed. A man's paternity is not. The only way he's able to guarantee it is by knowing that his woman is faithful to him. So that's the primal urge that is triggered in a man when something as tragic as this happens to him. That primal urge is triggered is, this kid might not be mine. Now, it's clear here that she's not pregnant, but it's not the point. The point is, that's the primal urge that is triggered. He kept scratching at his skin and harming himself in weird ways and insulting himself like I would insult him when I got angry and I was scared he was going insane. This is very interesting. He was insulting himself. Maybe at this moment, it was at that moment that my man realized he effed up. That my man realized bringing his best friend over to entertain his wife whilst he's off grafting was actually a disastrous idea after all. I will repeat it again. No free mixing under any circumstance. None. Not even the 5-minute hi bye thing. No. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Done. Done. Anything outside of formalities, done. Keep it respectful. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Finished. The end. Thankfully, the neighbors called the police due to the yelling, although they took his side a little more than mine. And they asked me if I had somewhere else to stay, so I don't know if they hospitalized him or not. And now I live with my mother and I'm working part-time again. I regret everything. You see, again, let's pay attention to the wording now, okay? First she says, now I'm living with my mother and I'm working. And then after the living with her mum, back with her mum, which is a step down, and now she's working, then she talks about regret. She didn't say, I slept with my best friend's husband, I allowed him to do heinous things to me, I regret everything. No, pay attention to the wording. The wording was, I live with my mum and I'm working, that's why I regret it. That's why I regret it. Because my husband wasn't really doing it for me like that, but he was a great provider. And I need that in my life right now, so I can be a bum again. But now I actually have to work and do something productive. And I live with my mum, I'm going to step backwards. I regret it. Pay attention to the order of the wording. This is crucial. I live with my mum, I work, I regret. That's all I heard, because that's all she feels. Though I still haven't been able to quite distance myself from David, because I think he really, the audacity, the nerve, because I think he really started to care for me once my husband tossed me aside and he's been here. This is amazing. This is an alpha widow in the making. Look, this is incredible. David, the guy who sent all of the, who betrayed her after betraying, so hold on, let's get this straight. After betraying his best friend and then betraying his best friend's wife that he was sleeping with by sending all of the nudes and videos and pictures that they took to his best friend, she still thinks he has her best interest at heart. That is an alpha widow. That woman has been printed for life. She's as good as dead from a perspective of relationships and pair bonding. She's useless for pair bonding purposes. She's useless for marriage, for a long-term relationship. Useless. She's finished. It's done. That print is permanent. It's a permanent marker. It ain't coming off. It's David or bust. And David ain't going to commit to her. Think about it. David's going to commit to a woman who willingly cheated on her husband? Come on. Even though David's a scumbag, he ain't stupid. He ain't stupid. You see men doing that all the time. They'll sleep with as many different women as they like, but as soon as they have to commit to a woman, oh, no. She has to be virgin. She has to be chaste. Is it a double standard? Yes, of course it's a double standard. Get with the freaking program. Ladies, understand how men work. We operate on double standards. So if you don't want to be at the butt end, at the crap end of the double standard, stop giving your body up for free. Because there is a tax to be paid, and that tax is paid when it's too late. It's irrevocable. You can't get a tax relief from it. You can't get a tax rebate. It's done. You're done out here. Don't confuse sexual attention with relationship attention. Just because a man will sleep with you doesn't mean he will commit to you. On the contrary, if a man can sleep with you easily and get those type of benefits out of you easily, he's definitely not committing to you. 100%. Is it a double standard? Yes. I didn't make the rules. I report them. Get with the program. David calls me wifey now, and it hurts because I really just want my husband back. We haven't gotten officially divorced, but he won't talk to me or return my messages or anything at all. If I send a third party there, he just tells them to tell me to get a lawyer. Good for you. Good for you, husband of this bint al-gahba. If I send a third party there, he just tells them to tell me to get a lawyer because he wants to divorce me. I don't know if I'll do well in the divorce since he paid for everything, and because of David, he has a mountain of... You know, the fact that she's even thinking, hoping that she could get something. Where's your dignity as a woman? Where's your self-dignity? You know what? I effed up. I should leave with my tail between my legs. But no, you still want to extract some resources out of him. Still. This further cements my belief of what I said earlier. When I said, I live with my mother, I'm working again, I regret. You are just in it for the resources. This man was a cash point, an ATM machine. That's what he was to you. So much the better that you're good that you cheated on him, because now he can get rid of your ungrateful ass and hopefully find himself someone better. And hopefully learn from his stupid mistakes as well. Good. But again, cements the notion or the conclusion that I drew earlier, that she was with him for his resources and where he was going primarily. Primarily. I really just want this to all be done and over. What can I do to get him back? And if I don't, how will I... Oh, wow. Subhanallah. What can I do to get him back? And if I don't, how will I do in a divorce? Still asking about the resources. This is as clear as the sky. Like the sky is blue, the grass is green, and this woman was with him for his resources. It's like that. It's a fact. She's still asking how she will do. Update. After writing this post, I was able to get into contact with my husband's sister, and apparently he is not doing very well mentally. Apparently he hasn't been eating and has lost a ton of weight, and she said all he does is work and sleep and maybe eat every other day. She said I also did nearly unfixable damage to his confidence because he's now afraid to go out in public because he thinks people will see him as a joke. Look, if you've been through this as a man, I've never been through this, alhamdulillah, but if you've been through this or something remotely like this, sometimes you need to be broken down before you can be built back up again. And I want to give you a small message of hope here. Okay, this man effed up, but guess what? You know when you go to the gym and you want to get muscles, what do? You lift the barbell or the dumbbell and you curl. You do the bicep curl, you do the bench press, you do the squat until what? Until it hurts, pain. Why? Because when you work out your muscle and you work out until you feel some pain, you create something called a micro tear in the muscle. It's the tiny tears, a selection of thousands, tens of thousands of tiny tears in the muscle, and the muscle is essentially damaged. Hence why you feel pain the next morning. Delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS. Because the muscle is broken. You've literally broken your muscle with the micro tears. But then what happens? The body sends reinforcements to strengthen the muscle and return it not just to its original position or its original how it looked originally, but makes it even stronger to be able to cope with that burden of pressure next time better. That's how the body reacts. If you put the muscle under stress like that, the body will say, oh, we need to send reinforcements. We need to make this structure stronger. And that's the case for you, my friend, right now, husband of this bint al-gahba. You have been broken down. The muscle has been broken down. But guess what? This is an opportunity for you to strengthen the structure and not just return to your original strength, but to become even stronger. Honestly, I don't see how his mental condition is my fault. It's his response and his choice to do what he's doing. You know, although principally she's correct, we choose to react to a situation. You choose as a human being how you want to react to a given situation, to said situation. Even though that is fundamentally or principally true, you have no right to say that. That's like me going out and killing someone and then telling the other party, the bereaved family of the person that I killed, your mental health is not my responsibility. You are choosing to be upset right now. I don't have the right to say that. Bint al-Gahba. What are you talking about? This is solipsism times 1,000. This is selfishness on growth hormone, steroids, insulin, the full Monty. This is world's strongest man of solipsism, or world's strongest woman of solipsism. That's what this is. Nothing is ever her fault. When you see a woman like this, talking like this, please, because this is in a text format, we can actually break down the words. This is beautiful. I love this because you can see the order of the words that she chooses to use, and you can get an intimate insight into how she thinks. Let a woman talk long enough and she'll tell on herself. She still wants me to sign the papers and is threatening me with the evidence that was sent to him by David. I'm going to hold off any attempt to get him back until I can assure that he is not going to do anything drastic like on the night he found out. Lady, let the man move on. Let the man move on. So let this serve as a reminder to the young Muslim man watching right now, to the young Muslim woman watching right now, but particularly to the young Muslim man, because you are the qawwam of your household. You are the one who everything filters through you. Everything filters through you. We do not free mix. We do not have friends of the opposite sex. We don't do that. Why? Because we're humans and we fall into error and we make mistakes. You are not a Superman. Accept your fault and your flaws. Accept that you have inclination towards these things, because if you don't, you'll make these mistakes and then you will actually fall into the haram. Humble yourself and accept, I'm weak. I'm weak. I cannot have friends of the opposite sex. My wife cannot have friends of the opposite sex because I am weak. I acknowledge, I accept, I'm weak. I'm weak, I'm weak, I'm weak. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.